good morning. It is 10:02 and we wanted to make sure we start on time. We only have an hour with one another. And just like what I've always said, nothing happens by chance, everything happens for a reason. I hope that you all have your pen and paper, your journal or notebook with you, as this 1 hour would be an opportunity for us to look back into the year. And in doing so, trying to maximize the next half of the year 2020. It has been a very unusual experience for all of us who are now working from home. And so, as we go back into just reflecting, having individual time, it will really be an opportunity to have a kickoff this morning of all of those reflections and insights that can propel you into a better, brighter second half of 2020. Okay, I am seeing many people that I've met before. Good morning sa inyong lahat. See, nothing happens by chance. Everything happens for a reason. You are here joining us on a Thursday morning. And what we will be doing is presenting to you tools that will help you really anchor yourself in the second half of 2020. I invite you all to please use the chat box and send me private messages for any questions or insights or reflections that you know are really pouring from you naturally, so that in this 1 hour, you don't just have the quiet time for yourself with your notebook or journal, but also some opportunity to also express what's in your heart and in your mind, given our limited amount of time. Okay. So, pa-thumbs up naman dyan. Okay. Everyone, thumbs up. Are you ready?
Everyone, please use the reactions button. Yeah.
Tayong reactions dyan. Yan. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is, just like what we're doing now, I appreciate a lot that your video is off so that we make sure that our signal is free for everyone, is flowing smoothly for everyone. Okay. Our session this morning is all about focusing on what matters. And I remember when I wrote this book, it was inspired by my near-death experience back in 2004 when I woke up and I couldn't breathe. My life flashed before my eyes. Life is too short. You can go to bed feeling fine, and in the morning, wake up and feel that, wow, you can no longer breathe. So even if your desire to be alive is there, just like in my experience, the desire to be alive was so clear, but my body has its own laws, and my body had its own laws. The deep moments of regret were very clear to me. And this is something that we would like to avoid, because all of us know that our life here on earth is temporary. And so making the best decisions we can make given our circumstance and all of the people and the network that are in our life in order to create meaningfulness is really a worthwhile investment. So I know a lot of you already know me. Just a little bit of a background. Aside from leading Gallup in the Philippines and bringing Gallup here and bringing strength to the Philippines, I am a mother of three. And this is my husband, Jim. Jim and I met being as theology professors at the Ateneo. So my first job was I was a theology professor. Here are our three sons, Marco, Paulo, and Joshua. And I like showing the picture of my sons, in order for us to put into context who are the people that will benefit the most when we spend time to really reflect on who we are. So this is a lovely picture that I love to show because I just checked my iPhone and then may picture na ganyan. So mga loko-loko at mga masayahin ang aking mga anak. Okay. Let's make sure that we focus this morning on everything that is positive for us. I would like to begin by talking about one of the guiding principles of One Core, which is how taking care of yourself is, and personal mastery and investment is of utmost importance. The guiding principle is called you cannot give what you do not have, so take care of yourself. In the experience of my being a life coach, I have noticed that even this is in contention with my clients. Whenever we come up with issues or concerns or whatever it is that is weighing them down, when I ask, how are you taking care of yourself? The question always is, Coach, I'm firefighting, I'm addressing, I'm responding, I am leading, I am strategizing, I am caring, I am nurturing, but it's always outward. At one core, we believe that you taking care of yourself is the greatest investment because unless you take care of you will be sharing a compromised version of you to the people around you. Again, unless you're taking care of yourself, you will be sharing a compromised version of you to the people around you. So, as leaders, as managers, as mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, spouses, partners, it's so important for us to take care of ourselves in order for us to share the best version of ourselves to others. Okay. So, grab your pen and paper because this morning is all about you. I have one of my newest slides that I love sharing is the slide of not being guilty to have personal space. And the illustration that I chose was locking the door because in the context of today, personal space is seen in within your the confines of your home. So please do not feel guilty to tell people that you need the room to yourself, that you need space to yourself, and not just because you're working. Because a lot of the time, okay, I'm working, so guys do not enter the room. It's all about work. No, ask for the space for you because you say that I really need to relax. I really need to decongest. I really need to sleep and just have the whole room to me. And then when you say that freely and they experience that after they've given you that, there is a better version of you that comes out. It's the joyful you, it's the smiling you, it's the positive you, it's the patient you. Then they know that they can do it for themselves as well. So you would like to start modeling this for the other people that are in your care, that personal space. Do not second guess yourself. Do not doubt the value of personal space. And so when you come out, you're refreshed and a better version. So let's begin with some reflection. And I have 4 questions that are on the board. I'll be showing you those slides. And as I do so, giving you 5 minutes to just go through those questions very quickly. Because the first thing that comes to mind means it's really the intention for your answers of those 4 questions. And as you go through those questions, please make sure that you're not stopping. Because a lot of the time when we do exercises like this, some people are editing themselves. Tama ba yun? Tama ba yun? No, no, just make it freely writing. Because we only have 5 minutes. And in those 5 minutes, we will be able to capture enough for the entire session. Okay, so grab your pens and your paper or journal. Question is, how has 2020 been for you? And answer it in the context of what have been your victories, small victories or big victories. No size, the size does not matter. What have been your victories so far in the first half of this year? What are your hopes that are still remaining now that we are in mid-year? And what are still some fears that are existing now that you are in mid-year? Okay, so those are our questions for our 5-minute reflection. Um, there is no right or wrong way of answering it. The fears can be related to your hopes and your victories, or the fears can be separate fears in itself. The hopes don't have to be related to the fears or the victories. The hopes can be just hopes that are in general also. Remember, as you go through these very important questions, you are thinking of both your personal life and your professional life. So 5 minutes, I will be giving everyone 5 minutes, and I will be playing the music. And when the music stops, it is the end of our reflection time. Okay, so wrap up. I know that the time is probably not enough. I know that the time is probably not enough, and it's already a good start for us. There. So, in those 5 minutes that you have given yourself to answer the questions on hopes, fears, and victories of the year, uh, it is something, a reflection time, an opportunity that we should not be, a practice that we shouldn't be taking lightly, for us to be collecting ourselves and giving ourselves an opportunity to really make the most of understanding ourselves amidst all of this uncertainty. What I would like to do now is provide you more tools as we have begun with simple insights uh, on where we are in our starting point. I know that the current pandemic has been really unusual for bringing out uncertainty, anxiety, and there's so much judgment and chaos that's going on around. We would like to create structures to give you more confidence in this time where you are making crucial decisions, not just for yourself, but for people that matter most to you. And so, Focus on What Matters, which is the title of my second book, really provides what we call opportunity for grounding, opportunity to remove drama, to remove all of the things that are not necessarily and are taking up emotional and psychological and mental space for us, in order for us to truly move forward with confidence. Imagine every day with uh, the circumstances, there is no doubt that you're making the best decisions for yourself and for others. Imagine a life where there's such serenity, just like the illustration here on the slide. Imagine a life with no doubt. And that foundation of a life with no doubt is defined as you being able to center on yourself, to quiet yourself, to provide yourself that investment and nurturance and all of that joy that you need. So, as we seek clarity, at one core, personal clarity is the utmost objective. We would like to share a definition of clarity with you. Clarity defined is an integration of three things: your values, your experiences, and your natural talent. So if you've taken your Clifton Strengths Finder, your natural talent would be your answers to your Clifton Strengths assessment. And then your personal values and your life experiences. When they're aligned, the result is a life of compassion, patience, unity, and love. Okay, let's take a deep breath. Hinga ng malalim. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, okay, what does personal compassion mean to me? What does personal patience mean to me? What does personal unity mean to me? That inner unity that you know you're not being pulled in different directions, but there is one cohesive piece within you. And what does personal love mean to me? Where am I in my understanding of the value of personal compassion, of personal patience, of personal unity, inward unity, and personal love? Where am I in my, not just my understanding, but my commitment to this? Where am I? That is the outcome of someone with clarity in their life. You will be able, you without a doubt will be able to sense that when they enter a room, there is compassion. When they enter a room, there is patience, there is unity, there is love, there is There is bringing people together rather than tearing people apart, rather than tearing groups apart, rather than creating chaos, rather than creating all of these magnifying differences. A person with clarity celebrates differences because differences are important. Diversity is important. All of the philosophy of positivity is the more differences there are, the greater we can see the whole. That is what the outcome of clarity is. So now let's practice a little bit of this by looking back at your answers that you gave in that simple reflection, 5-minute reflection. Look back at your answers and let's use the lens of compassion, patience, unity, and love. Let's look back at those answers. And if you were to step back and read the answers from a lens of someone who has compassion for the writer of this journal, who has patience for the writer on this journal, who wants to create wholeness and unity inside this person who has written in the journal, who wants to have that love emanating from within. And just that simple exercise of writing down your natural thoughts, what are my hopes, fears, what are my victories, and then uneditedly doing that, and then switching and asking yourself, okay, now I put on my lens of compassion. And now I want to read back my answers to my journal entry. That way, we create space for clarity. We create space for integration. Okay, so that is the first exercise. Definitely writing down all of your thoughts, fears, victories, and hopes. And this can be something that is done frequently. And then putting on the lens of compassion, looking back at that person who's written in the journal, and how would you now be caring for that person? Because the investment in yourself begins with you. Only you, when you invest in yourself, can be that best resource. You are the only one who knows yourself the most. So gone are the days that you're looking at your managers, you're looking at your peers, you're looking at your partner, your spouse, everyone outside you to validate you. Gone are those days, because clarity begins with the self. And the tool that we love to use at the One Core, as written in my book, Focus on What Matters, is the simple spectrum. The spectrum that shows us when we are not in clarity. This spectrum shows at the ends the relatives of fear, which are insecurity, guilt, doubt, and anxiety, and the relatives of pride, which are anger, irritation, impatience, and judgment. Okay, so Coach P, how do I know when I am lacking clarity in my life? Okay, clarity is not a destination that you arrive at, and when you're there, you are no longer going to be leaving clarity. No, clarity is something that you work towards. It goes up and down because different circumstances come your way, and so feelings arise from those new circumstances. When what happens with this tool is that it's an indicator that there is a need to look further into that particular situation or circumstance, because after a meeting or after a text, after an email, why are you feeling a little bit of self-doubt, or why are you feeling a little bit anxious? So that's an indicator, okay, that it looks like I'm not okay. Because how can an email make me feel anxious? An email is an email. I can respond to it. So there's something underlying that would make me feel okay that the email can affect me to that degree. Or after a conversation with a colleague or someone that you are living with, your children or your partner, your spouse, oh, wait a minute. Or even if you're living with your parents, oh, wait a minute. After the conversation, how come I'm feeling frustrated and irritated? Okay, these are opportunities for you to look at that circumstance and say, okay, there's something that seeks clarity in this particular relationship or in this particular conversation. So this tool this spectrum of misguided clarity or spectrum of misguided search for compassion is a quick go-to indicator that, okay, I still have to take care of myself because I was feeling a certain way. And what I love about that practice is for us to know that feelings are neutral. They're neither right nor wrong. Because I have many clients who say, Coach, when I'm angry, I cannot accept myself. I cannot stand myself. No, anger as a feeling, frustration, criticism as a feeling, that is neutral. Let it come out. It's neither right nor wrong. It's how we manage that feeling that we can now judge as right or wrong. But surely the feeling of doubt, the feeling of insecurity, the feeling of uncertainty, when it comes out, do not judge and say, I shouldn't feel insecure. I shouldn't feel angry. I shouldn't feel doubtful. Take it as information or data. And I write about this in my book. Take it as data that something in your life is searching for that clarity or compassion. So again, we are looking for an experience of an integration of our values, experiences, and talents. And many a times in my life, and I would love for you to look back at our social media so you can hear the stories of what I've gone through myself. There has been a lot of pain, there has been a lot of frustration, and there has been a lot of a challenge. Nonetheless, the commitment to integration is key. I would love to be known for constantly using this particular philosophy. Remember that nothing happens by chance, everything happens for a reason. And so, even as there are disappointments that are coming your way, and speaking to many clients, I'm constantly speaking to clients throughout this unusual time for all of us. There is a learning, a wisdom that comes out of the circumstances. And the wisdom that is born out of the unusual gift of working from home, the confinement of working from home, the time that needs to be integrated with people that you live with, the humility that is necessary for you to really see yourself more clearly. The humility that, okay, there are things in my life that aside from the traffic that I used to go through, aside from the chaos and the routine that I used to go through, there are things in my life that I want to do for myself, to nurture myself. So there is more time for the self. However you are right now and whatever circumstance you're in, your choice of words and your thoughts are very powerful. So when you say to yourself that I am going through a lot, this is so hard, I won't be able to go through this stress, I have to manage so many things, remember that starts trickling the information to every cell in your body, and then you are internalizing that negativity or that lack of hope. As soon as we start transferring, and this is cognitive behavioral therapy, as soon as you start transferring your thoughts towards positivity, then that is what will begin to surround the energy around you, because it will be an energy that you are choosing for yourself. So even if other people around you are negative, do not feel that it is your responsibility to take care of their negativity until you have taken care of yourself. So that is key in the one core philosophy. One, ikaw muna. You first. Take care of you and your core before you take care of others. Because the authenticity of your presence as a manager, as a leader in the home and also at the workplace, the authenticity all depends exactly on the decisions that you make, modeling to others that your care for yourself, there's just that natural flow that you're able to now give others from an overflow because you have taken care of yourself first. So uh, in our culture, a lot of the time people are saying, um, uh, I don't want to think of myself, it's selfish. I shouldn't be thinking of myself because when I start thinking of myself, it just weighs me down some more. Okay, this is a clear indicator that your muscles are not used to you being your best steward, your best friend. Because in the context of your life journey, you are taking this journey, and just like my near death experience, you are on this journey. It's a personal journey. At the end of your life, you are by yourself. In my near death experience, all of those moments of regret were very clear to me, and only I could answer for my decisions. Only I could answer for all of those things that I went through, and the feeling of being overwhelmed because I went to bed and I was fine and I woke up and I couldn't breathe. Our life can go just like that. So seek that clarity because life is short. Seek that clarity. We would like to be able to make sure that when we do simple exercises as writing down our thoughts on a journal and then seeing them with compassion, using the spectrum in order for us to make sure that, okay, these are indicators where I still need to nurture myself. So I'm always asked, so Coach Pia, how do I now nurture myself? How do I now make sure that what I anchor myself on is exactly what I should be spending time on? A lot of you I've met already before, and I'm seeing some of the um, familiar names. There is a tool that I have been talking about several years, and it is a tool that can be found clearly in the book Focus on What Matters. And we will be using it in this new context because it is mid-year and because of the unusual work from home context. Uh, when we see our current condition of managing working from home, it blows my mind away about of how much of the um, uh, restructuring literally of rooms, how you have to change the space because it seems that there is a lot of uncertainty as to how long the work from home and um, the shuttling of what we call the new normal, how long these things will be able to stabilize and become more consistent. So this structure or this tool that I have been teaching for quite some time is called the MICK, and now we will be using MIC tool in the context of our pandemic or our mid-year reflection. I'm wondering if some of you still remember what the MICK is. Let's see nga if you still remember, if you've met me before. What is the MICK? Do you remember? M stands for motivation. I stands for inspiration, C stands for cheer, and K stands for kindness. These are non-negotiable habits that we put in place so that there's meaningfulness in our life, purposefulness in our life. There's nothing like working with people who are stand up for meaningfulness and purposefulness, who advocate for these for themselves and for others. So let's talk about the M habit. Non-negotiable habit of letter M are routines and regimens that you know work for you. If you know it works for you, you make sure that you commit to it. So the illustration here is a cup of coffee because I know for a fact that people say, Coach Pia, I'm not the same if I do not have my cup of coffee. That's an example of when you know something works for you, commit to it. Make it a non-negotiable. Some people say, I need my daily meditation. I need my daily walk. I need my 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep. The routine doesn't have to be daily, it can be weekly as well. I need real good rest on a Sunday. I need to Zoom and meet with my friends on weekends. I need to be able to have my long baths and quiet time at the end of the day. So whatever it is that you know works for you, grab your journal, grab your notebook, write down routines and regimens that you know from now on you will make non-negotiable because you are committed to you. And when you remove that from your daily regimen, your weekly regimen, you realize parang there's something missing. Then you know that it's a letter M habit that needs non-negotiable commitment from you. Okay. Now, letter I. Letter I habits are those that do not come in routine or regimen, but they give you full charge or inspiration, just like a recharge, a charge, recharging your cell phone, just like charging your cell phone. It's a fast charger. There is no routine around it. You may not have it every so often. Walang compass to it, but when you do experience it, it's a full charge. These are habits that you also have to have just up of within arm's reach because you need the full recharge right away. So some people, what they do is it's not a routine, but they garden. Some people, for their letter I, Coach P, I go to my favorite ice cream. So it's not a routine, but when they do it, wow, full recharge. Some of your letter M habits or motivation habits can fall under letter I. So it can be like a full recharge every time you do it. But your letter I habits cannot be letter M or motivation habits because as soon as your letter I habits become routine, then you have now have to supplement your this whole MIC tool with more habits that fall under letter I that are not routine but just give you a full recharge. So again, motivation habits can be inspiration habits, but inspiration habits cannot be motivation habits. So you will seek for that inspiration, those inspiration habits. Yes, okay. They become non-negotiable. Always have them within reach. One of my techniques is I have pictures and a lot of my souvenirs here from the times that I had wonderful experiences traveling and with experiences with friends. So they're just around the corner. I don't always look at them, but when I look at them, I am recharged. So that's another experience. Example of letter I. Letter C. Letter C are habits that you put in place because you know that stress will come. Stress is predictable. So, what are the habits that you know are necessary for you to surpass that stress, to just encourage yourself and go through that difficult time? The example here is someone who's exercising, he is swimming, because a lot of my clients say, Coach, moving my body just helps me distress. Again, some of your letter M and your I habits can be your letter C habits. So motivation, inspiration can be your cheer habits. Just as long as you know that you start instilling the non-negotiable structure around the anticipation of that heaviness or stress. Especially now, you can already see next month, month after, the month after, okay, December, all of the stress you can already foresee. So you already are putting it in your calendar, all of these non-negotiables that start anchoring you and avoid you going to the point of stress that you're so burnt out already. So it is in your calendar what you're doing, okay, to minimize the stress. There's no right or wrong. Some do scrapbooking, some are doing a lot of painting now. There's no right or wrong. They could be your letter M and letter I habits as well, but you're making sure that there are specific habits that help you distress. Last but not the least, the letter K habits from my clients. I have heard that this is the most difficult, coach. It is not natural for me to be kind or nurturing to myself. What does that mean to nurture myself, coach? Because it's easy for me to be kind to others, but I'm not necessarily kind to myself. It is your capacity to encourage yourself, to nurture yourself, to look, just like our exercise earlier, to look at all of your circumstances, your thoughts, your feelings, anything that you're writing down on your journal, you're collecting your insights, your reflections, looking at all of those with compassion, to be kind and nurturing, just like you would your very best friends and the people that you love. The standard by which you should put for yourself in the letter K, non-negotiable, the kindness, the standard that we should follow is, if you would do this for your children, your mother, your father, your spouse, the people that matter most to you, then the same standard or energy should be given to the self. Hindi yung when you take care of others, it's like this, like this, like this. And then when I take care of myself, it's only like this. We should be able to model to others that they can take care of themselves as well, instead of codependent relationships where there is blaming and there is a victim and there is someone who's feeling that they're aggrieved and there's someone who's feeling that they're always giving more than the others, and everyone is saying the same thing because they have not gotten into the one core philosophy of, you should be putting yourself first because you cannot give what you do not have. So being kind to yourself should be at the same standard that you hold to being kind to the people that matter most to you. So as we look at these particular tools, what we are seeing here is that we should be applying our motivation and inspiration, building that daily routine in this new normal, where there is a clear commitment to self. Tamang-tama, we still have a half year left. So the next half of the year, the commitment to the self will be different, on a different level. And you should be feeling this every day, that you are the one who's working for you. And that can be seen by having that joy that you're experiencing. There should be joy in your life. What are personal routines that especially will be helpful in these trying times? And how can I be checking my cheer and kindness in order to bounce back from any frustrations? So your cheer and kindness routines can help you bounce back from frustrations. Just the other day, I started sorting my files. I started fixing my room. I've done in this quarantine, I've probably done 3 times now. I've cleaned out my closet. I've cleaned out the closet of the kids. I've cleaned out our storage room. And I'm just realizing there's more and more things that can be sorted out. Even in the third go, I still have things that, I haven't touched in the last 3 months again. So I don't need it. So you see, there is that bouncing back cheerful activity for me, which is to put things in order. It relaxes me. So all of these that you will be putting down as your MICK habits, know that every time you're doing it, you are investing joy, and you are really infusing joy into your life. Yes, I'm so excited because your life will be so different when you start doing this MICK. You will experience a joy, a deep joy in your life, especially if you put yourself first, because you cannot give what you do not have. You cannot give patience, authentic patience to others if you do not have patience for yourself. You cannot give love, authentic love to others if there's a lack of love and compassion for the self. So here is just a rundown again of MICK: motivation, inspiration, cheer, and kindness. Feel free to um, take a screenshot, just like I was hoping you took a screenshot of the spectrum. Um, we will be emailing that, PB. Let's make sure to email that to everyone. Okay, so we are now open for sharing your thoughts and questions. Okay. We're doing good time. Can we now, all you have to do is look for me on the chat box and send me a private message for any questions or thoughts or reflections. Okay, so I have one here. Coach Pia, how do I manage the fear if it is just overwhelming? Okay, so there are some fears that are overwhelming, and I realize a big part of this would be the customary response of feeling responsible for people we love is if when other people are feeling anxious, we are internalizing the anxiety ourselves. So if there is a fear that seems overwhelming, what I'd love for you to do is detach yourself from the feeling by acknowledging it. So acknowledge the anger, acknowledge the fear, acknowledge the anxiety, whatever it is that you're feeling, and then detach yourself from it. How does that work, coach? You're acknowledging it in itself it is empowering versus just saying, oh, I'm feeling fear, but then I'll brush it aside. Okay, those are two very different psychological, psycho emotional habits. Brushing it aside versus acknowledging it. When you acknowledge it, the expression is you take it outside of your body when you acknowledge it and put it aside so that you're able to see it objectively. Is the fear your fear, or are you internalizing a fear of others? Because if it is a fear that has come from others, or an anger that has come from others, and you're just internalizing it, you were not the trigger, you were not the cause, somebody else said it, tapos you were just nahawa ka lang dun sa energy na yon, then it is very important for you again to buckle down and look at cutting that dependence, that habit of internalizing the feelings of others. Okay? And so when you identify that, okay, I'm not going to be internalizing the feelings of others because I know that from my activity in this simple 5 minutes late a while ago, that I'm choosing to be hopeful, I'm choosing to be positive. And then when people start being negative around you, you will no longer be internalizing it because you're going to be protecting yourself from the suggestive feelings of others. And then work on your MICK habits. Make those non-negotiable routines and structure for yourself. Okay, I love the questions that are coming. We still have time. Okay. Um, any tips on managing all these fears about the COVID-19 community transmission blowing up? Yes. Okay, for sure. When it comes to the management of the virus, my first tip is do not keep your ears plugged to the news constantly about this pandemic, because what you feel and your thoughts affect who you are. So if you're checking in on the pandemic every so often, like once every day or once every 2 days, because why? It does not change within the day. I have a lot of clients who have their news feed on the whole day. If they're not working, if they're not doing chores, in fact, when they're doing chores, they have the pandemic news. That is, it's already uh, how can it not affect you if it's constantly in your mind? You're brainwashing yourself to just be focused on the pandemic. So be selective about your exposure to the news on this, because from day to day, the change is not much. And so that you're able to unplug and free yourself and create that space for the joy that I am asking you to experience through the non-negotiable habits. There's several more questions. Keep them coming. Coach, I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night after a bad dream of workload. It's been going on since we started. How to cope with it? Any thoughts? Okay. When we are talking about to the point of it being in your dreams, where the workload and the pressure is already in your subconscious, that you're taking it to your dreams, I would really recommend several things. First is be able to take it out of your system, get it out of your system, be raw about your feelings, your emotions. Find a venue and do not hesitate to really let it out. So a venue to vent without any doubt, express your frustrations. If there is a safe place for you to do physical activity, please express it through your physical body, moving, running, jumping. Um, uh, if you can do your home exercises, well and good. So sweat it out because it is clearly already on the level of affecting your sleep. Speak to people that you know will not be judgmental about that. And as you find that safe space, I am assuring you, one way to cope with this is to tell yourself this, that it's all right. It's okay not to be okay. Because when things are not okay and people start judging themselves for feeling that, why am I not okay? That this is, it's okay not to be okay. And then the release of that, the letting go of that, and not judging how you're going to be dealing with the let go of that is a big way for you to get better sleep. Also, I would love for you to please keep in touch if you needed someone to really speak to on a professional level. Coach me, how can we share, practice our mindset to our loved ones at home? My loved ones at home are extremely anxious and broke down a couple of times and can't seem to empathize with them because to avoid feeling stressed personally. Okay, that's very good. I'm glad that you're protecting yourself, that you are protect yourself. That's good. One of the help that we will be providing is we will be forwarding to you, if you have found this session helpful, forwarding to you the recorded session of today. The other way is for you, so they can get some tips. The other way is for you to help them reach out and connect to other people that are not in your home. So social, the Zoom, Skype, Messenger, WhatsApp, Viber, all of those tools are our best friend right now. Have them really communicate and find that safe space that they can just be themselves. And that way, it's not all on your shoulders. That's one. Coach Pia, what to do to get over the shame of past mistakes? Okay. I thank you for that very insightful question. The letter K habit in MICK is one of those ways. My assurance to you is this, and I write about this more in my book. My assurance to you is this: um, forgiveness of the past under the letter K habit, forgiveness of yourself in the context of that past, and forgiveness of asking for forgiveness and allowing others by just forgiving them, even if they have not asked for forgiveness, allows for that peace to move forward. And there's more tips in the book and in the videos that we share on our social media. I just want to share that our company's hashtag is possibilityville possibilityvillism. Ganda. Possibility possibilityvillism. Yan. Think possibilities positively. Ang ganda ng hashtag nyo. I have a family member of mine who's suffering from anxiety. What can I do to help? Because somehow we're also affected. She still, example, she just feels weak. Inisip ko na may COVID siya. Okay, okay. So there is a quick she just feels weak and may isip niya may COVID siya kaagad. Yeah. If it's really at the point na it becomes a fixation, I would strongly recommend that you have that person talk it out with someone who has the tools to help them get unstuck. So at One Core, we also have psychologists and coaches who are very good at this. It's easy, just schedule an appointment or seek out someone within your network already who can help them get unstuck. Because currently, um, they are actually fixating on that because fixating on that keeps them busy and makes them feel like they're in control. So it's actually ironic, no? Fixating on the negativity makes them feel like they're in control. Coach B, I like the first exercise where we reflect on the first half of the year. And then I liked it more when you did it by integrating an integration by looking at those with the lens of patience and love. I think this exercise will be helpful for me moving forward. But as I haven't been used to doing this, my question is, how do I set up an environment for this exercise, like practical things? Okay. Like what I mentioned, thank you so much for your question. Choose a time of the day and mark it in your calendar that you're freeing yourself at that hour to do this. So I wake up with a note that tells me, just like any agenda, and how come every other people's agenda is on your calendar, you should have a calendar appointment for yourself. Okay, that's big. Okay. So what I'd like to do now is make sure that we continue to support you. PB, it looks like 3 minutes. We have 3 minutes left, and just let's just unwind and make sure that we keep in touch with everyone.
Yes, coach. You'll be sharing. Yeah. So, next slide, please. Yeah. So, the book is available on Amazon, fully booked, and some of the national bookstores. So, you can grab your copy. Next slide, please. Then you please take a screenshot of this, or you can easily scan the QR code to answer our area of interest survey and have a chance to win a Focus on What Matter book. So we will be giving away 3 signed copies of the book, and all of the winners will be announced on our social media accounts. So please be sure to follow us to keep you notified. So please scan it now so you'll have a chance to win a book, or visit One Core AOI.
Yeah.
Next slide. Yeah.
Nako, nakaka-excite. Magpipirma pala ako ng
Yeah.
book. Yay!
We'll be
Love
giving away
it.
three signed books.
I love
Yeah.
it.
And uh, again, if you need someone to talk to, OneCore is offering online individual coaching to help you achieve clarity amidst the challenges we face. So you can easily contact us through our email, contact at the onecore.com, or you can easily shoot us a message on our social media accounts. There's our link of our social media accounts, and you may follow us, and you can easily message us there. And while you're at it, you can also view our programs. You can also click our website, www.theonecore.com. Again, www.theonecore.com. Yeah. So you can view all of our programs, our flagship programs, corporate programs, and a lot more.
Okay. Thank you so much, PB. Salamat. Nakita ko may mga comments pa dito. May isang comment. Salamat, PB. And if people are overbearing or too hard to bear, sometimes it's workmates or people that you're reporting to. What do we do? Um, it's very important for us to take care of ourselves first. So let's do that reflection time, and then let's definitely have a safe place to fall. Be honest with our feelings, especially if the people that are stressing us are the people that we are reporting to. We have to have an opportunity to give positive feedback by receiving feedback as well, saying that to our bosses, sir, ma'am. It can be verbally through a session like this or through email. Um, During this time of the pandemic, you can get the best of me when, and then say when they can get the best of you, so that you're providing the context where you will be most efficient if you are because you are already feeling there's some stress and heaviness from your boss. So you can get the best of me when, and I highly encourage all of you to practice this, please, at the workplace. There are 4 questions that you can ask yourselves to just unload, no, that frustration. You can get the best of me when, you can get the worst of me when, and you can be honest with each other. Everyone's answering the question. The third question is, sir, ma'am, you can count on me too. And then the last one is, sir, ma'am, this is what I need from you. Because all we are seeking for, we are all united in wanting a life of peace, wanting a life of compassion, and wanting a life where everyone is experiencing deep joy. Remember, life is too short. You can go to bed and feel fine, and one day just wake up and not be able to breathe. Nothing happens by chance. Everything happens for a reason. Thank you so much for joining us. Keep in touch. Mwah, 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 mwah. Life is short. Bye. See you all. Thank you. Thank you. Macy, thank you. Bye, Nina. Bye, Annie. Bye, Vic. Bye, Joanne. Bye. Thank you. Bye, Sherwin. Bye, Joanne. Bye, Jeline. Bye, Abner. Oh, thank you, Natalie. Even in Zoom. Mwah, 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 mwah. Sayang di tayo magkakasama. Bye, Mish. Bye, Abner. Yay! Mwah, 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 mwah. Marky, yes, bye. Bye, Miken. Bye. Bye, Teline. Mwah, mwah, mwah.